Hi, my name is Geena Urango and I'm a professional beach volleyball athlete. I play on the AVP tour. One thing that is super important to me as an athlete is my diet. But what's great is my backyard is actually a really big garden. So right now this is an orange bush. Got some fresh oranges. We've got a mulberry tree. I don't know if you've ever had one. They're really good though. And then over here, we've got some strawberries. So good. And then, let's see, this is a peach tree. Hasn't started producing yet, but it will soon. Over here is a plum tree. And we've got some avocado trees back there. Papaya tree I'm really excited about. So what's really great is that I'm able to come back here and pick some good produce, fresh produce, and implement that into my meals. So one thing that's really special about my backyard is the giant mulberry tree that we have. There's actually two of them, but they're in one pot. You can see, oh, that's my dog. My dog's hanging out in the garden. So mulberry trees are really cool because one, they grow really fast, and obviously also having more so fruit trees is that it's great because you just kind of maintain them with watering them throughout the year, and then they produce fruit every year. So the mulberry tree grows so fast, we have to trim it a couple times a year. And right now in the month of April is the prime season for them. As you can see, we have this whole branch is just filled with them. Obviously they're not ripe. This one is though. And the way you eat them, it's kind of similar to a blackberry taste-wise, but a little bit sweeter. And you just kind of pull it off the stem. So good. But the one reason too why you don't really see them in stores is because they have a really short shelf life and they stain. So that's not really feasible for a lot of grocery stores. But one way that we like to, obviously because the tree grows so big, it's hard to get all of the berries that are up there. What we do is we'll put bed sheets all around down on the tree, and then you just take a branch and you shake it. Oh, see, a couple fell just now. So that's really fun because then you can go and pick them up, wash them off, and then you've got a bunch of fresh mulberries. Do you like mulberries? Not so much. I do though. They're very good, and I don't know, it's just so great having this tree back here. Just having all of this fruit year round, different types of fruit, different trees producing at different times. And so with the influx of mulberries that we have right now, it's been fun to make different things like mulberry pie, mulberry crumble, or just eating them plain. Obviously, I love to play volleyball, but something that I like to do in my downtime is bake. Big hobby of mine. Luckily, we have a lot of fruit trees in our backyard, in our garden, so it's really fun to make different types of treats with the fresh fruit. So right now we have a bunch of fresh mulberries, and I made this really good mulberry crumble, fresh out of the oven. Gotta let it cool a little bit, but you know, healthy, right? So a couple of my favorite plants that we have in the garden. This one right here is a guava tree. So the guava tree, it's not in season right now, but when it does have guavas, they're kind of hard to eat because they have a lot of seeds in them, but the citrus flavor is so good, and what we like to do is we like to kind of de-seed them, puree it, and we make it into guava jalapeno jam. And so we have a canner, which is great because then it can store for long periods of time. But this is a great tree to have, easy to grow, grows very well in Southern California. Another thing that we have over here is a mango tree. Now mangoes are so great because when you grow them fresh, so I don't know if you know this, but for mangoes to be sold on the shelves in stores, they have to be boiled for a minute to kill any bacteria or pesticides. So that's why a lot of the time the mangoes that you get at the store taste kind of stringy and not as sweet as a fresh one that you might have tasted in the Caribbean or somewhere. So it's great to have that. Here you can see just a baby one starting to form. So good. And all of these flowers on this tree right here are all gonna turn into mangoes. So another thing that I love that we have is a grapevine. So these are green grapes. I don't know if I can, oh, here's some right here. I don't know if you can see babies forming. Those are fun. Can't make them into wine, unfortunately, but they're still very delicious. Last but not least, my favorite thing in our garden, dragon fruit. So dragon fruit grows on cacti, and so all these cacti are different types of dragon fruit. The white, the bright pink. They're one of my favorite fruits, and the coolest thing about this plant is the flower that becomes the fruit itself. It only blooms in the middle of the night, and it actually most of the time in other areas of the world it relies on bats to pollinate it, obviously because those are the flying living creatures that help pollinate it. But so when we see a flower forming, what we'll do is and it can self-pollinate using the pollen from it. You can put it into the flower itself to help make sure that a fruit is going to form. So it's kind of interesting too, because that flower only blooms once in the middle of the night, and then the flower dies. So if that flower isn't able to pollinate itself within that time frame, then a fruit doesn't form. So when this is in season, later on in the summer, we got to keep an eye out and make sure that we pollinate all of those flowers. One of my favorite things that we have in our garden are a bunch of blueberry bushes, which are in season right now. And blueberries are great because they have lots of antioxidants. And I gotta tell you that fresh blueberries from a blueberry bush, so much better than store-bought. They're super easy to grow. As you can see, pots are probably best to have them in, but otherwise this time of year they produce new fresh ones every day. Like these ones will probably be ripe in a couple of days, but just go outside, get your berries for your yogurt in the morning or a little snack in the afternoon, and they're great. My favorite, probably.
Hey everybody, I am sitting here with professional volleyball player Geena Urango. Thanks for doing this.
I'm excited that you're here.
Right on. So on the AVP tour, you guys travel the world, you go wherever, and if you ever need a doc, where do you find your doctors?
TheWellnessChampions.org.
Right.
That's always a great website to look at, especially, I travel a lot, so it's very helpful.
Cool. When we're home, I love taking care of you, so I appreciate that honor. But we focus on the 3 Ps, and everybody thinks that health is just about pain. What are the other 2 Ps? Because being healthy is way more than just being out of pain.
Right, yeah. Prevention of injury is another one, and then performance, obviously.
And you're an expert on those.
Yeah.
So you are what we call a cultural authority, and when it comes to the cultural conversation on health, I think a lot of young athletes can imitate and replicate what you're doing. So pain is one thing, but obviously prevention and performance is huge. And I think on any level, whether you're an athlete or not, you've got to perform, and I think you can learn some things from Geena. We're going to crush it today, huh?
Yeah, we are.
I'm stoked.